going to delve back into the elections head first. In the fighting third district, obviously it starts with Miss Mary Brown, who is the Common Council's longest serving member, having been on the council for the last 15 years. If reelected, she said that she will continue to advocate for the return of community policing, the community policing office, to the 3rd district, which previously had one near Tolliston Park. She wants to attract beneficial businesses to the district, telling the Post that she's always wanted a cleaners and a bakery. Solid asks. She also hopes to find a developer who will construct new housing for middle-income residents, and pointed to the shuttered Ernie Pyle Elementary School as a potential site. Running against her is WLTH's own Jonathan Booth. Yes, my former radio partner. I think most of us know him already. He has a background, an extensive background in community advocacy. He obviously does the Juneteenth and the Kwanzaa celebrations every year here in the city of Gary. These things have become sort of a tradition in the city. He was on the library board, and like I said, he's here on WLTH regularly, so he can make his case for himself a lot better than I can. Anthony Manuel is the next candidate, who is a small business specialist at U.S. Bank and an executive board member of the Gary branch of the NAACP. He wants the GPD to increase its use of surveillance equipment in an effort to combat crime, and said the city should explore solutions to the non-functional traffic lights that have turned many of its main streets into drag strips, including potentially creating traffic circles at intersections. You know, this is one of those things that I kind of, I'm very leery of surveillance. Now, as somebody who's watched what's happened with police brutality in recent times, I do support cameras on cops that can't be turned off. But I do think the idea of a surveillance state where we have cameras at all times running across the city is it is absolutely a slippery slope. Pretty much every dystopian drama and novel you can think of starts off with the surveillance state for a reason. You see what's happening in China and how the surveillance state has been used to basically hold people hostage in their own homes. So yes, I mean, I want crime to go down as much as anybody, but I'm not sure that the building a sort of surveillance heavy city is the way to do that, while at the same time maintaining the civil liberties of the public. Because I believe ultimately in a free society, sometimes you have a right to just get lost, to just walk down the street, to mind your own business and not have anybody watching you. That's part of being an American. That's what separates us from China. That there's not constantly Big Brother looking over your shoulder. Now, one thing I definitely agree with Mr. Manuel about, he's 42. He said that age makes him equipped to better serve the 3rd district than his significantly older opponents. He said old solutions are not going to address the new problems that we're having. It's like we talked about in one of the last segments. Sometimes power becomes entrenched when you have these candidates who've been in power a long time. And sometimes you never know. There may be a need for some new ideas and new thinking. That's not an endorsement of him or anybody else. I'm just, thinking out loud here. But I definitely understand where he is coming from when it comes to that. And last but not least, Mr. Ron Matlock, who is a Calumet Township board member and former union representative for the United Steelworkers Local 1010. He lamented what he sees as a council that basically is fighting against each other and pledged, if elected, to bring all these people together and have some unity. Good luck with that. Mr. Matlock supports the use of tax abatements to draw new businesses to the city of Gary, but said that economic incentives alone will not be enough to foster significant development without a substantial improvement in public safety. Now let's go over to the 4th District. You have Ms. Ty Atkins, who is the 4th District Councilwoman and the Council Vice President. She served on the council since 2020. And she is running against Miss Ebony Rogers Miller, who is the daughter of former Councilwoman Carolyn Rogers, who held that seat for, I believe, 20 years. If I'm wrong, give me a call, 219-885-1371. But I'm pretty sure that Carolyn D. Rogers was at least 15 to 20 years on the 4th district seat. Miss Rogers Miller says that she wants to continue her mother's legacy. If elected, she says she would champion cleanup efforts in the district and work to improve the district street lighting and set up a neighborhood watch. Now, this race has had some sort of sniping back and forth where Miss Miller has criticized Miss Atkins for her handling of the city's recent redistricting process. Miss Atkins chairs the council's redistricting committee and led efforts to choose a new district map based on the results of the 2020 census. The city council missed the December 31st, 2022 deadline to approve of a new map, leading to a Gary resident suing the city. With the 6-3 vote, the city council approved the new map that avoided drawing any city council candidates out of their district during a February 10th emergency meeting. 3 council people voted against it. Now, Miss Miller says that about Miss Atkins that she failed us miserably. Talking about Councilwoman Atkins. But Councilwoman Atkins has said that as a leader, she's previously taken accountability for her part in the redistricting process and is thankful that she was able to work through the melee and still create a viable solution that was accepted by all parties involved and led to a better mapping result for the city. Both of these women have voiced desire to battle blight, which again, every district, we're dealing with that in every district here in the city of Gary, battling blight, trash, and inadequate lighting. Adding that Miss Atkins hopes that she continues to advocate for the development of the Broadway corridor if she is reelected. So that's a race to watch. On to the 5th district. It is only Miss Linda Barnes Caldwell, who's been on the district since 2015, and Carl Weatherspoon Jr., who has said that if he is elected, his constituents can expect a dumpster in every precinct in the 5th district. He said he would work with NIPSCO to improve street lighting in the very dark, dirty, and dangerous district. In order to help Gary raise additional revenue, Mr. Weatherspoon has said that he's proposing lobbying the Indiana General Assembly to raise the cap on short-term rental permit fees, currently $150, and avoid granting long-term tax abatement to businesses in order to get our fair share of tax dollars. I understand that. On to the 6th district, you have Mr. Robert Buggs Sr., who is the president of the Gary Community Schools Corporation Advisory Board and a member of the library board. He has said that if he is elected, he plans to advocate for road paving and other infrastructure projects in the 6th district, because for too long, the 6th district has been forgotten. He also wants to block trucking businesses from opening in the district's residential areas. He wants the city to avoid granting tax abatements to businesses who want to come in here with the same old story of economic investment but fail to bring a meaningful positive impact. And he supports implementing a new community benefits agreement that would impose conditions on tax abatements with the goal of ensuring that businesses give back to the city of Gary, which is very important. Too many people have gotten to eat off the city of Gary for too long and have not invested back in our community. I always tell people, this is why when me and the Rev were here, I believe a few years ago, and we did the real estate episode, I said very specifically, hey, don't sell your homes, everybody, not here in the city of Gary. Okay, we're right here on Lake Michigan. That's 20% of the world's fresh water in our backyard. People are going to be fighting wars over that stuff very soon. A lot of the property in this city, in this community, is very valuable. You may not know it, but the people in Chicago know it. The people in Milwaukee know it. The people all around the country know it. And now all around the world are going to know it very soon. So it is important that whoever claims they're investing in the city of Gary gives back to us and gives us our fair value. And he is running against Dwight Williams, the 6th District councilman, who stressed the need to bring new market rate housing to Gary to grow the city's tax base. Again, we have to grow the city's tax base. He said that he aims to let Mayor Prince's office lead conversations about incentives for developers, with the city council playing a supportive role. He expressed his desire for a closer working relationship between the city council and the Gary Community School Corporation, which is always important because we're getting our school system back in July, and it is important that we all do whatever it takes to make sure that the school board is successful. Not having a public school system may be the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened since I've been here in the city of Gary. And yes, we're getting it back, but it is important that we don't let what happened happen again. So I'm glad to see that so many of these candidates are adamant about working with the school corporation. And finally, for the council seats, this is the for at large. There are actually 8 people. 8 people seeking the at large seats. I could not find a lot of information about Sinclair Harvey IV or Tyshawn Brown. Mark Spencer is the director at the West Side Theater. I do know that about him. He's running against Roosevelt Dixon, Ron Brewer, and Darren Washington, who is the former president of the Calumet Township Board. He actually replaced Mike Brown as an at-large councilman during the August caucus held by the Lake County Democratic Party. And our current 1st District Councilman, William Godwin, is running for an at-large seat. He's been the president of the council since 2021, after serving as vice president as 2020. And he is a lawyer who owns Godwin Realty Company. Anybody can look through the archives here at WLTH and look at the interview he did here, I believe it was either Monday or Tuesday night. We had an hour, almost a full hour with President Godwin. So you might want to look through that before making your decision. We also interviewed Mr. Harvey as well for about half an hour, I believe. Maybe it was an hour as well. So you might want to check the archives at WLTH Radio to check that out. Now, there is actually a Republican in this race named Ivan Usuri II. Could not find a lot about him. Good luck getting elected as a Republican in the city of Gary, Indiana. Now, we're going to take our last break right here. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the big dog, the mayoral election between Mayor Prince and Eddie Melton. Please stay with us here on WLTH 1370 AM. I am Scott Cannon. This is my country. We'll be right back after these.
Hi, I'm Lori Latham, now running to be the next 1st District City Council person. When you cast your ballot on or before May 2nd, I respect
comprehensive coverage of the city's common council seats, and it is time to preview the grand dam of them all, the mayoral primary between Mr. Jerome Prince, Mayor Prince, who has been in office since, I believe, 2019, and Senator Eddie Melton. This has been, I believe, a very close race. I did not think that it was going to be this close at first, but it looks like it's going to be a very contentious race between two people I respect a whole lot. Okay, I voted for both of these men. I voted for Jerome Prince in 2019, and I voted for Senator Melton when he ran as well. As I've said on this show before, I like the status quo. I like having somebody like Senator Melton fighting for us downstate. I think he's great at that. I believe that Mayor Prince is in his first term, and to solely judge him on one COVID-addled term is not exactly fair. That's my opinion. That's my personal opinion. Does not represent that of WLTH. Does not represent that of the United Urban Network Incorporated. These are just my, Scott Cannon's, opinions. I think judging him on that, we talked about earlier the blunder of selling the Genesis Center to Acumen, which ended up being a no-go. I definitely understand why a lot of people would be frustrated by that. But I do think that the last few years, I think that Mayor Prince has hit a certain stride. I do like what they are doing in tearing down a lot of these businesses here, these buildings, these abandoned buildings here in the city of Gary. But let's look at the two candidates. Mayor Prince has been focused on just that, demolishing abandoned buildings throughout the city, improving public safety, and increasing youth programming, which is something I believe we all can agree that we need. According to his website, in the first term, he reduced the city's long-term debt by $7 million. Other accomplishments include Operation Safe Zone, a security camera initiative, distributing much of the $80.3 million of the American Rescue Plan Act money the city was awarded, and launching a broadband equity project aimed at increasing internet speeds, demolishing abandoned buildings, and starting a youth summer employment program. State Senator Eddie Melton, we talked about the blunder, his blunder of the whole Acumen situation. Senator Melton supported the school referendum that was passed that increased our taxes over the next 8 years. It is important to say that Mayor Prince did not weigh in on that. He has said that the mayor's lack of imagination actually perpetuates the status quo here in the city of Gary. The two-term senator's campaign is built around addressing the root causes of crime by investing in education and workforce development, increasing first responder retention, attracting economic development that affects the whole city, and promoting a healthier community by addressing barriers to nutrition and medical care. All very important things. State Senator Melton has been a strong proponent of redeveloping Buffington Harbor into a transit center. It is important to know that the winner of this contest will compete against Andrew Delano, who is unopposed in the GOP primary in the November 7th election. Like I said to Mr. Ivan Ussery in the at-large race, good luck with that. Good luck being a Republican and getting elected in the city of Gary, Indiana. So that is a quick wrap-up of the 2023 Gary, Indiana primary season here in the city of Gary. Thank you guys for joining me. Now, before we leave, because I only got about 10 minutes left, let's go through some other news stories that happened during this week as quickly as we possibly can. President Biden has declared that he is running for re-election.